My Rotary family, good morning. It is still morning. Good morning. I ask a question to myself, why am I here? And it is because of three people. First two are incoming First Lady Vanati and her spouse, our incoming leader, Ravindran. They asked me to speak to you, and I value this honor and opportunity. The third person is the reason for what I am today, who has influenced my life to follow the path I have taken. She has been my life partner for almost 6 decades. She is my wife, Usha, and she is here. Will you please stand up? And I want to thank you. My friends, normally she would have helped me in preparing my major speeches, as she normally would do, and even vet them. But this part of my today's presentation is unseen by her. If she had, she certainly would have deleted it. What I am saying is not with a sense of flattery, but with sincerity. Not platitude, but gratitude. It is through my own life experience I can convey to you the tremendous influence you have on your spouse, if you already do not know that. Late Rotary International President Carlos Canseco was a great communicator as an orator, but at times he lost track of time. And once he was speaking from the head table, and after quite a while, his wife, Maria Aurora, who was sitting next to him, started pulling his jacket. President Carlos turned to her and loudly said, "Why are you pulling my jacket?" And she replied, "To request you to shut up and sit down." She spoke in Mexican language, but we could make out what was happening. She was polite and she was right. I am not suggesting you to do the same, but you have your own ways to convey what you want to convey. When Usha came in my life, she had her own interests and dreams that she wanted to pursue, like music, art, studies, and others. She sidelined many of them to join me on my Rotary path. I was in business having aspirations, but she expanded my mind and helped me to see a wondrous, amazing world beyond materialistic pursuits to what would truly add value to life. I agree that genuinely at heart, we all have the best intention to guide the life of one who is close to us. But we have to accept the right of individuals, even as a spouse, to live one's life according to one's personal inclinations and philosophy. And yet, two lives, two partners come together, just as you are doing here, and just as you have been doing, to be a team, to do good together in the society. Decades back, when voluntary blood donation in India was still in a pioneering stage, Usha became deeply involved in this movement. She was a regular blood donor herself and asked me to also become one. I was mortally afraid of a needle, and seeing blood, I would faint. And it is true. It was a definite no from me. But Usha would not budge. How could she motivate others when her own husband was such a coward? She threatened that if I would not donate blood, she would quit the movement forever. Finally, gathering courage, I went to donate blood, all along saying my prayers. That day, I not only became a blood donor, but a strong supporter of the movement. And when I became district governor, I initiated blood donation as a major Rotary project in my district. And today, many Rotary blood banks are serving the community all over the country. Usha won the day I became a blood donor, and I am happy she won. About 17 years ago, Usha and I decided to get involved in hands-on service beyond our borders. We launched the first India-Africa medical mission under a Rotary banner. Our group of Rotarian surgeons and non-medical volunteers, including Usha and me, were all set. Excited with the prospects of sharing this adventure in service with the Rotarians and doctors of Uganda. Suddenly, all our hopes were dashed with the news of bomb blasts in Tanzania and Kenya, and Uganda being reported as the next target. Usha cried with disappointment. All our friends and well-wishers discouraged us. Don't go. Don't take risk. One evening, Usha met a young lady, Shanti, who was serving as a peace volunteer in Croatia for the landmine victims. Usha asked her, "Are you not scared in a place where life is at risk every moment?" Shanti smiled and said, "Oh no, not at all. There is only one life to live. Living it meaningfully is all that really matters to me." Usha got the answer, and so did we all. Our sagging spirits got uplifted again. And going ahead with our original plan, we landed in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, drove 4 hours to a town, Masaka. On the first morning of our work, as Usha and I were washing the legs of children, preparing them for polio corrective surgery, Usha asked me, "Do you remember what is it today?" I replied, "No, I don't. In the joy of service, I had forgotten everything." She smiled and said, "It is 11th August, happy birthday." I was overwhelmed. Yes, my friends, what could be a better way to celebrate one's birthday? And then, 17 years later, this time deliberately, Usha and I were able to persuade our children to allow us to celebrate my 80th birthday in Africa, serving our larger human family. On that particular date, in Kigali Hospital in Rwanda, as I was pushing the trolley and transferring patients to the operation table, I felt I was not getting old. My friends, you have just witnessed the unique presentation on WASH, Sesame Street, the National Geographic, giving ideas of project opportunities that are available anywhere, everywhere. You have also listened to a truly remarkable and moving advocacy for girl child. I myself had a very touching experience with an 8-year-old mentally challenged girl suffering from congenital cardiac disorder. Her father, a rickshaw puller, earning about $75 per month, brought her for corrective heart surgery under our club's Heartline project. Rotarians and even doctors had reservation. Was the case worth taking up? Would it not be waste of money knowing the father's meager income and the child's mental condition? As we were discussing this dilemma with the surgeon, the girl's father, illiterate father, sensed our hesitation and broke down. With pleaded hands and folded hands, he said, "Please save my daughter. Please save my daughter. I will do everything possible to look after her. She is everything to me, and she will be my first priority." Everyone was stunned. In the wake of such prevalent bias against girls, the father's pleadings were heart-rending. And then, how could we say no? Recently, when Usha and I were in Rwanda, in Africa, with the medical mission, we met the children who had undergone heart surgeries in Chandigarh, my hometown, under our Rotary project. These 15 children were accompanied by their parents. In the course of our interaction, the father of one 12-year-old girl stood up and started saying, "When my daughter was selected for surgery in India, thousands of kilometers away, I was happy and sad. Happy because that was the only chance for her to live. Sad because she was going away to a distant land. She might not return alive." And he broke down. But in the middle of his talk, he started again. And as he controlled himself, he said, "People discouraged me. Why to India? Surgery will not succeed. She will die there." But that was her only chance. I was sad as I kissed my daughter, seeing her off. I feared that that kiss might be the last. Few days later, the phone rang. It was from India. And the father continues saying that with the shaking hands, I put the phone on my ears, ready to hear that my daughter was gone. She was dead. She was accompanying, it was the accompanying paramedics who had called to tell me that her surgery was successful. But I was reasonably sure that I was only being consoled and my daughter was no more. After 3 weeks, when I saw my daughter coming down from the plane, I could not believe my eyes. When she ran to me with a big smile and hugged me, I was speechless. And I wondered, who should I thank? My God or Rotary? Or maybe both? All this has been possible because each time we saw a window of opportunity to give hope, to do good, heal people. Here is another real story of hope. Recently, we had terrible floods in the hill state of Uttarakhand. Roads and bridges, schools and homes were all washed away with the unprecedented cloudburst. Thousands were killed and many more marooned. Inclement weather hindered the rescue operations by helicopters. A human chain bridge formed to help children and helpless people to cross over to safety. With numerous school buildings getting totally destroyed or damaged, the children in rural areas lost the only hope of education and indeed the only hope for their future. And that is when Rotary was one of the first to come forward to undertake building schools. It has been a Herculean task for Rotarians, but they are known to accept challenges, overcoming all hurdles of reaching the remote hilly terrain. Construction started, and now some schools are already functional. Each primary school has 2 or 3 classrooms, toilets, drinking water facility, kitchen, and all much better than before. Amazing is how Rotary reaches out to the unreached. But even more amazing is how the spouses of Rotarians rise to the occasion. When spouses of our club president, our club went out and appealed to the children of our local schools, they expected small contributions from their pocket money. Children of one school were so moved that they raised the money to build one entire school. Power of spouses at its best. Such calamity can strike any place on the earth. Misfortunes can hit anywhere in the world. Today, there can be no island of peace and prosperity in the ocean of strife and scarcity. The human stories are endless, and so are the needs for food or shelter, medicine or education, sympathy or empathy. Even you and I have a need of happiness. A group of 50 people were attending a seminar. Suddenly the speeches stopped. All the delegates were each given a balloon and were asked to write their own name on it with a marker pen. Then all the balloons were put in another room and everyone was let in to find their own balloon within 5 minutes. Nobody could find the right balloon and the time was up. Now, each one was asked to randomly pick a balloon and give it to the person whose name was written on it. And within 5 minutes, everyone got their own balloon. We are frantically looking for happiness, not knowing where it is. Our happiness lies in the happiness of others. Give them their happiness, and you will find yours. My friends, living life is ordinary. Sharing life is extraordinary. Being energetic is ordinary. Energizing others is extraordinary. Having good intentions is ordinary. But converting them into deeds is extraordinary. And you, each one of you, are extraordinary. You have the extraordinary ability, the unique power of observation with which, visibly or invisibly, you will help your partner. You know your spouse is the leader, and she or he knows you are the backbone. You will walk with your partner on the right path, never ever compromising on the ethical values. You are extraordinary because you can look beyond yourself. You will see the opportunities of service in your backyard or neighborhood, across town or country. During your past association with Rotary, and particularly now here in San Diego during the last 3 days, you have learned much about the functioning of Rotary. You have also been told of your role next year. Thus, you are well equipped with the technique and knowledge how to make your spouse's year of leadership effective. However, internally, There is within you the powerhouse of natural instinct and practical wisdom, which no one else would have, from which your partner leader and indeed Rotary will draw energy. Once when I was in Africa, I learned a word, Ubuntu. And I asked a friend its meaning. And he said, let me show you. He got the children playing in the park to line up and placed a fruit basket 100 meters away. He then asked the children to run for it, and whoever would first touch the basket would get it. And then he shouted, go! The children held each other's hands and shouted Ubuntu and ran together, got the basket, divided the fruits all amongst themselves. And then my friend explained, Ubuntu means I am because we are. My friends, Ubuntu here means Rotary is because you are. Shel Silverstein, author of children's books, wrote an amusing yet meaningful piece, Zebra Questions. It goes like this. I asked the zebra, are you black with white stripes or white with black stripes? And the zebra in return asked me, are you good with bad habits or bad with good habits? Are you happy with some sad days or sad with some happy days? The zebra's profound questions have deep meaning. And without any ambiguity, just like zebra's own colors, black and white and not gray. Like zebra's questions, there are questions in our own pursuit of life. You are going to embark upon an important phase of your life, and there are questions that concerns you as a person you are about to become. How can you be more involved, more fulfilled, more daring, generous, and more dedication? What little push you can give to change someone's life. Will your self-motivation be strong, intense, and charged enough to enable to step over the threshold of something bigger and greater, greater than you can ever imagine? And you will get the answers from your inner voice, my friends. And if you hear the resounding yes, if that stirs you up, then every moment of your life will be a celebration of life. I can assure you it will be a celebration of your life. And you will add value to yourself and be ready to be a gift to the world.